All right. So, welcome, guys, to the Sports Rap Show. I'm Gilbert Gonzalez here with my two favorite people. My brother, Vinny. How are you doing, Vinny?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Doing good.
And my father, you know what I'm saying? The daddy-o, my pops.
That's right, baby. That's right, baby. I'm so glad this is finally happening. I'm so glad this is finally happening.
Me too. I know it's been a while since we've done this. Actually, it's been more than a while because of school and then because of work getting in the way. And then basically, I just stopped. I think it's just because of how I just live farther away from each other, and I'm just trying to see how we can do this show without just traveling back and forth between all of us and stuff.
Right.
But so I figured out a way. So hopefully we can do this consistently now.
Continue, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, we could just we could grow as a whole and,
Yes,
and as a show as well. So,
Hmm.
so we're here.
Good.
We're going to be talking about Mac Jones being named the starting quarterback. Obviously, Cam Newton got released. We're also going to be
Just like
talking
I wanted,
about
baby. From the very beginning, I wanted that. From the very beginning. I'm so happy.
we're going to be talking about if the Jacksonville Jaguars made a mistake of trading away Garner Minshew, and we're also going to be ranking the 5 rookies that we've seen in the preseason. We're going to rank them from worst to the best, and also JK Dobbins out. Are the Ravens still the favorites to win the AFC North? Right?
North.
I think it's
Yeah,
AFC
North.
And then finally, on our last topic, it'll be if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are clearly the favorites, who are a threat to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the AFC conference. So before we begin, you guys, I'm not sure if you guys ever read about this, but the Bishop Sycamore story that recently, I think it was a couple of days ago, or was it yesterday, Vin? Was it yesterday?
It was a couple days ago. It was
a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It is one of the craziest stories that I've ever heard in all of sports. I think you can make an argument about the Manti Te'o catfishing story a couple years ago.
I remember that.
Maybe Malice in the Palace. I was young for that. I didn't even know that there was
I remember that.
NBA stuff like that. But I mean, I just don't know how they tricked ESPN, who is a $1 billion company.
Yeah.
And not research that. I don't know how they do it in high school. In high school, it was a high school game, right? Like in high school.
It was a high school team.
Like a high school. Okay, so I don't know how it works about researching these schools or how they get any information about this school, but it's just crazy to me how at the very end of this whole story, how this whole game, that these high schoolers, okay, we're talking about kids 15, 16, 17, be grown-ass men who was 20, 21, I don't know how old they are, but they were adults at that point. 58 to 0. So that's basically we could go to that school and face a real high school and we still get our asses whooped. I just don't understand how ESPN didn't get enough information on this Bishop's Sycamore school, but it's just one of the most craziest stories that I've ever heard.
I actually took time and read about it, and this was 3 years ago in the making. This started in 2018. In 2018. Wait, yeah.
This happened in 2018. So this school
since 2018. Since 2018, this school, so-called school, had actually started. That's when this whole scandal started. And I'm surprised. The thing that surprises me the most is, like you said, this multi-billion-dollar company, they have to have at least traced something back there. If they didn't really want to or didn't care, or actually took the word of whoever started this Bishop Sycamore.
Yeah.
It started as a Christian faith to help youths. That's what it started at. And they were saying that it started getting a little bit fishy when they actually tried to look up the address. And the address, there was 2 addresses. One was to a residence. It was a residence. It was a house. and the other, it was a library in West Virginia. That's why they were like,
Oh my Lord.
That's how that things started falling into place.
When I had
that
first,
started investigating.
that's crazy. When I had first heard about the story, I thought it was like a. I know how basketball they have AAU teams. There's just
Right.
like they're like private academies, like Spire Academy and stuff like that. I thought Bishop Sycamore was like another example of that, but in football. But when I heard that their head coach, there was a warrant out for his arrest.
Yeah, that's even more crazier.
That was crazy. That was crazy. I was like, what the hell? And then the scam came out, and it was just like, it was crazy. I don't know.
I just don't. I don't even know. I think probably that one of the guys there ended up having a tore his ACL. I think it was in the first quarter. I think I saw a clip of it.
Oh my god!
How one of the guys got a tore ACL during that football game. But it's just, I don't know what they're. They have to do some background checks on something.
Yeah. I mean, especially something like the way you were talking about, Junior, like something like, these kids, they're playing with grown men. You have to look out for the safety of the players, because they could get banged up really easy and get seriously hurt. I mean, I'm surprised that didn't even happen. Like you said, somebody torn their ACL. I mean, I hope that's the worst I'm not saying that I hope for it, but I'm glad that that's probably the worst that happened, because it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, but it was from like the Bishop Sycamore. Like one of the players from that school ended up getting like an ACL injury or something like that. But yeah, I just wanted to know you guys' thoughts on all that stuff. So
very surreal story. Surreal
story. It's crazy.
All right, so let's segue into the NFL now. I think it was yesterday. Dad, I texted you yesterday like around 7:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't know why I woke up at that time, but I was still awake at that time. So I texted you knowing that I seen a article. I think it was from the Boston Globe, because I know that you told me who was the source, and I thought it was Adam Schefter. But the one who released the New England Patriots news was, I think it was from Boston Globe, and Adam Schefter from there. I think a couple seconds after I texted you that confirmed it that Cam Newton is released for the New England Patriots, meaning how you and I agreed that if obviously when you get your first rounders, when you pick your first rounders, they should start. How you and I were agreeing that Mac Jones should get the starting job over Cam Newton, because Cam Newton was never going to be the future. Okay, he was only there for like a year, which was last year. Then they re-signed him again for this year for like, I think like 3-something, but obviously 3-point-something million with incentives. So he was obviously, if he made maybe like at a Pro Bowl or something like that, or maybe gaining this much yards, he could get that extra bonus and stuff.
Right.
But at the end, Mac Jones got the starting job. So what can we expect from the promising rookie?
You know what? I mean, I told you guys from the very beginning that I wanted, like you said, I wanted Mac Jones to start. I didn't care if we went 0-17. I didn't care. I just wanted him out there, because what got me more to the point of that thinking was, what is he going to learn sitting out with Mac Jones? With Cam Newton starting. He's not going to learn anything, because they're two totally different dynamos. Cam Newton. Cam Newton came into a really bad situation to the Patriots. He did. Tom Brady leaving, which is the GOAT. Then he comes in, and how do you replace him? You can't. You can't. So I feel kind of bad for Cam Newton, but at the same time, he hasn't been the same since his injury. He has not been the same, and I think Mac Jones did overachieve in the preseason. I think it was a good decision by the coaches. And I'm saying 0-17, but I am definitely sure they're not going to go 0-17.
Right.
Because if they even get a subpar 500 year, that's going to be his first season. I'll be fine. But I'm going to tell you one thing is, I think he's going to learn more than he would have sitting on the bench this year, because who's the best coach against rookie quarterbacks? Bill Belichick. What does he do? He studies the quarterback's mistakes. So how awesome is it going to be for Mac Jones to learn from the master? He's going to tell him, hey, dude, you know what? This is what quarterbacks that we beat do. Don't make those mistakes. And I feel that Mac Jones is going to have a very, very good year. I do.
Well, I had said regardless of who is the starting quarterback that you guys are still going to be like the third best team in that division. I mean, Mac, he looked great for the preseason highlights that I saw in the preseason game that we both saw. It was the first week of preseason. He looked really good. Yeah, it was just a bad situation that Cam was in, but I think they were just using Cam as like a vessel to kind of bridge Brady and whoever was next in line, like a draft pick. So I won't doubt that Cam finds a new job somewhere. What to expect from Mac, I think you guys are going to be probably the same team you guys were last year. You guys did get a lot of key free agent signings, but overall, it's going to be more or less of the same thing with the defense carrying the load for the most part of the season. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch Mac Jones play. It's going to be fun. So
I feel like
yeah,
I feel like watching him in the preseason. I like the way how he kind of like gotten used to the system. Because in the first game, I think like that you were talking about how you didn't really like how his feet were. I think it was just because of most of the jitters that was happening. Obviously, when you're a rookie and you're getting your starting, you made it to the NFL basically, and now you're getting some reps with the preseason guys. Obviously, the starters with Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, and Nelson Aguilar. He was trying to get reps with that guy, and then during the weeks after their games. You've been hearing a lot of stories how Mac Jones was just getting better and better at practice. I know that when Cam Newton was not with the New England Patriots for like a week or so due to like the whole COVID situation, that there was a misunderstanding about how their protocols were at. But, I've been hearing about how Mac Jones was doing very, very good against the Giants starting defense. And I'm not saying like, oh, like he's going to be like maybe like throwing 30 touchdowns or whatever, but I'm saying is that, he actually went against a starting defense who, in my opinion, was just, they're decent, the Giants defense. But I like the way how I was hearing about how he was actually like making great decisions, not turning the ball over in practice as well, not turning the ball over in the preseason games as well, which I really liked. But I feel like we can actually be the second best team right behind the Dolphins or going head against the Dolphins, because right now it's still going to be the Bills division. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like with Mac Jones under center, I feel a little bit more confident that we could go and be the second best team in the AFC East. But like I said, it will depend on how Mac Jones performs with the actual starters during the season.
Yeah, I heard too this morning. I saw Bill Belichick's press conference. I'm not sure if you watched it, Junior, but it was this morning. He was talking. They were asking him about Cam's decision of the vaccination. Did that have anything to do with him being released? He very strongly made it clear, because the other questions they were asking him, he was very short, like he usually is. But in that particular question, he made it clear that had absolutely nothing to do with his release. Yeah. What he was stating is that Mac Jones just outperformed him. He was outperformed. So Mac Jones won the starting quarterback job straight up, like with no arguments. Mm-hmm. And it was a hard decision. He even said it was a hard decision to let him go, because they actually wanted, I think he actually wanted him as a backup. But these coaches, he was saying that, we as coaches, we make decisions, and we all came into the agreement, and that was it, so I'm very excited. Like you said, I'm very excited as well to watch Mac Jones this year, and hopefully they're everything that he's going to be, everything that they say he's going to be.
Yeah, I hope so too, because I'm not expecting him to reach kind of like because I know that they still need to upgrade on their offensive side. Like, I understand Jacoby Myers was actually outstanding, and I feel like Mac Jones could have a lot of great chemistry between him and Jacoby Myers. The thing is that I'm worried about the other two guys with Kendrick Bourne, and I'm worried about how Nelson Aguilar was. Nelson Aguilar with the Raiders last year, he was great. Just the thing that I just feel that he needs to be working on is trying to hold on to the balls. And for Kendrick Bourne, I've only seen him giving a small sample size with him with the Niners last year. So with this New England system, I want to see how he can do on the field with Mac Jones under center. But we have the two tight ends as well. But now that I predicted that Jonnu Smith or Hunter Henry was going to be leading the receiving yards, the receiving in the team, both of them under Cam. But now it's with Mac Jones. Now it's a little bit different because now he could actually be throwing the ball to Jacoby Myers, to Nelson Aguilar, to Kendrick Bourne, and I feel like Jacoby Myers will be leading the team in receiving. I know that there's still going to be a run-heavy offense, how they did it last year with Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, and James White's still going to be there. I really hope to see how JJ Taylor is. I really liked him last year. He got plenty of reps in the preseason, so hopefully, like, he's getting a little bit over the running, getting over one of the guys in the depth chart. But I still feel like Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson are the 1-2 punch, and then then James White's still like third on the depth chart in my opinion, just because like if they ever go like shotgun, or you have a legit pass catcher that can help Mac Jones, just dump it off if he's feeling the pressure.
Yeah. I mean, if it's any constellation with Mac Jones, Devontae Smith pre-draft said that he'd prefer Mac Jones over Tua Tagovailoa at that time. And the year he won the Heisman, who was his quarterback?
Mac Jones.
Exactly. So if it's any constellation, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be super exciting to watch him play this year, I think.
That's right. Yeah. All right. So moving on. The other day, Jacksonville Jaguars traded Garner Minshew for a conditional 2022 sixth-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, that makes things clear about Jacksonville making Trevor Lawrence the starting quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I think we all expected that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here was the thing here's the thing. I feel that Jacksonville. because Garner Minshew he knew the playbook, okay, and I feel like they made a mistake. Now let me explain why. Okay, during the preseason, obviously all the media was hyping up Trevor Lawrence as the greatest college prospect since Andrew Luck, right? Now, those are some big shoes to fill in because it's been like 10 years. So after Andrew Luck's draft class year, we haven't heard any other quarterback till now that people are comparing Trevor Lawrence like a quarterback to Andrew Luck. Okay. When I saw Trevor Lawrence in the preseason, I feel like he's running for his life. I don't think that he's ready. Okay. And I think it's just because of the second game of the preseason against the Saints. I wasn't sure if he was facing the starters on the preseason, the Saints defense starters, because I did see Marcus Williams there, who I think is their free safety, was playing a few reps. But during that whole entire game, I just feel like he's in a similar situation, the way how Andrew Luck came into the Indianapolis Colts back in 2012, where he absolutely had nobody, and that offensive line was just terrible.
Garbage. Yeah.
I was just going to use another word, but I just caught myself. But it was just terrible. But is it just like, am I crazy enough to say that they made a mistake actually getting rid of a quarterback that knew the playbook, so then that way the organization could protect Trevor Lawrence? Because now I'm kind of being a little hypocrite, because I've always said that if you draft a first rounder, he should be starting, right?
Yeah.
So like with the Mac Jones thing that I just said, that he should be starting with Trevor Lawrence. Now I feel like the way I've seen in the preseason, it's just that well, their O-line is below average. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's below average. The weapons that he has, the only what's the safety blanket is Marvin Jones. I know he's trying to get chemistry going with Laviska Shenault. I think DJ Chark hasn't been playing because I think he has like an injury bug going on. But am I crazy enough to say that they made a mistake for trading Garner Minshew to the Eagles? I mean, what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think?
Well, honestly, what they got in return for Garner Minshew was pretty terrible. I mean, they got a 6th rounder, a conditional 6th rounder.
Right.
That is terrible. That they got absolutely fleeced. But I mean, it shows that they do trust Trevor Lawrence with the offense, and I think from what the clips that I've seen, from what I personally saw, he has great pocket awareness. So I don't think the O-line is really gonna like make a difference. But I mean, it's just gonna be his decision making when trying to find the open man. That's the part where he struggles a bit, and he always tries to be like hero. So I mean, I'm expecting a lot of picks from Trevor Lawrence this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's the same point. I mean, kind of, not really. Kind of the same point with Mac and Cam. You know, he's not going to have anyone behind him. I mean, the only guy he's going to have behind him is going to be Brian Hoyer or Stidham or something like that. You know, but I mean, it just shows that they trust Trevor Lawrence, and I think they just trust Trevor Lawrence.
How about you, Pop? What do you think?
I'm gonna agree with you, Junior, but I'm gonna go in like kind of a little bit of a different direction. I feel like once they traded Gardner Minshew, in my opinion, Jacksonville is not even concerned about winning. Now, let me elaborate on that. You know, Garner Minshew, like you said, he knew the playbook. Right. I'm a believer in. I mean, this guy was number 1 pick overall. I mean, he's got to start. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, so I was expecting Trevor Lawrence to start from the very beginning. When he was drafted, when his name was called, he was starting for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But when the trade came, I was thinking, okay, Minshew is a good backup. He would have been a nice backup for him. Right. And if they were like in a mindset of where they want to go, if they want to go far in the playoffs, they want to make the playoffs, then you don't get rid of a guy who knows your playbook. What if something happens to Lawrence? Who's backup? Exactly. And that's my whole point. I mean, they should have at least kept him. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know if they had to let him go because of roster spots, but I think it was a bad mistake for them to get rid of Minshew, especially for what they got. Like Vinny said, they got fleeced on that one, a 6th rounder for a guy who's been in the league for what, 2 years, 3 years? He's a young,
2, I think, or 3.
Yeah, he's a young quarterback. He's a young quarterback who is not the greatest quarterback, but he's decent. You know, he's
serviceable.
Yeah, he is definitely serviceable. And you know, that just goes to show me that just goes and tells me that Jacksonville is not wanting to win. You know, not wanting to win or make the playoffs. I mean, and their team is pretty. I mean, they have a decent running game. You know, and you're absolutely correct about Shenault, and I see him up and coming. Chark, yeah, he's been hurt, but I didn't think they were that bad. I think they could have made a nice little run this year, but now who knows?
Yeah, and I feel like I don't even know, because like you said, Pop, like we don't even know how Trevor Lawrence, let's just say he gets injured, right? And then now you're gonna have to go with a quarterback that I don't even know if it's the same backup quarterback that backed up Garner Minshew. I'm not even sure, or if it's a brand new quarterback.
Who did you say earlier? It was Glennon?
I mean, the last time I heard from any backup that played for the Jacksonville Jaguars is Mike Glennon, and I actually checked, and he actually plays for the Giants now. So I don't even know who's the backup for the Jaguars.
Jaguars. Okay, well, let's just say that this random guy, right? Or like not a random guy, but the second stringer. The second stringer fills in, and then he goes down. So let's just say we put it in like in a Jets situation where Sam Darnold had mono, and then you had Trevor Siemian, then he gets injured, and then who was the other backup? The other backup video, do you remember?
Nope.
No?
From the Jets, no.
Yeah.
Don't remember, sadly.
Okay.
I just looked it up right now, guys. Jags have no backup quarterback.
Wait, what?
That's what it says.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't. They're gonna get somebody. That means that they're gonna get somebody.
They probably have a practice squad guy at the ready.
Well, it says Gardner.
Okay.
It said Gardner. Yeah, practice guy. Maybe they're gonna have him, or because it said Garner Minshew, their backup quarterback, was traded.
Right. So they don't have no third
They don't
stringer?
have no name. No, they don't have a third stringer.
Oh my god.
But I mean, this is the same point with the Mac Jones thing. I mean, what if Mac Jones goes down? You're going to go with Brian Hoyer, and he's not exactly
I swear to God,
serviceable either.
You know
If we
what?
ever go with Brian
I'm not
Hoyer,
worried. I'm not worried because he knows the playbook better
No,
than
yeah, better
anybody.
than anybody. Yeah.
So I'm not even worried about Mac Jones.
Yeah. All right, so that leads us questions to you guys. Do you think that the Jacksonville Jaguars made a mistake by trading Garner Minshew to the Philadelphia Eagles? And what does this even mean if the Jacksonville Jaguars does not have a backup for Trevor Lawrence? Should they reach out and get Cam Newton?
Maybe.
Let us know below in the comment section
I
below.
was thinking about that.
Okay, so out of the 5 rookie quarterbacks that played in the preseason, we're just going to be giving you guys our pre-regular season rankings, because I know that there's going to be some quarterbacks there that are not starting. Justin Fields, which I think he will after when the Bears go 0-2. But what you've seen so far in the preseason, how would you rank these rookies from the worst rookie to the best rookie out of the 5 rookies that you've seen so far in the preseason? So who wants to start? Do you guys want to start first, or do you want myself
Go
to
ahead,
start?
Vinny.
Oh, okay. I've got put me on the spot here. So I have Trey Lance at the last spot. I got Trey Lance. Okay, so we got that right. Okay, at number 4, I have Zach Wilson. Number 3, I have Trevor Lawrence, and then number 2, I have Jones, and number 1, I have Fields.
Okay. Is there any particular reason why you have these guys like in your rankings, or is just the way how maybe
the ranking? I mean, from rankings perspective, I put them at like strength of the team, how they're going to help out. I mean, Trey Lance did not. I don't think he looked that great as everyone says that he did. There were a lot of big passes, a lot of big throws, but for the most part, he was pretty inaccurate, and he had the lowest quarterback rating out of all of them. PFF even had him last. I put Mac and Fields up there because I think they have the 2 best teams up there, Bears and the Patriots, as far as like offensively out of all of them. And I mean, Mac looked really comfortable in the system, and Fields played terrifically in the preseason. And I think that he should have been the starter. I don't think the Bears should have had jumped the gun and announced that Dalton was the starter. So that's just me.
Okay. What about you, Pop?
I mean, I do agree with Vincent. I do have Trey Lance 5th, and it's generally because of the quarterback rating. His rating was really bad. But I mean, again, it's the preseason. But even in the preseason, they don't start their he's not playing against number 1 defenses. So to have a rating like that, I mean, it's not good. I mean, number 4. And I'm only doing it because I didn't see him play that much. You guys, Vinny's gonna probably hate me. It's Justin Fields. I have him there because I didn't play. I heard one game. I heard about one game that he played that was really good, but I didn't get to see him. So I mean, just even ranking him is kind of unfair. Mm-hmm. But I have him at number 4 for that reason. Number 3, I have Trevor Lawrence. I don't think Trevor Lawrence, like you said, he only had, I think his last preseason game was his best one, and I did
Right.
see him play that game. He had a 154 rating. He was 11 of 12 for 156 yards and 2 TDs. He was good, in that game. He looked really good, and I think it was against the Cowboys. So
Right.
I feel like he's at my number 3. Number 2, which I've talked to Vinny about. When was it? Day before yesterday or yesterday? I'm not worried about Miami in the AFC East. I'm worried about the Jets. The Jets are pretty sneaky. Their defense has improved big time, and they went out and got receivers that Corey Davis. They ended up getting Corey Davis, and then they have their young nucleus of receivers: Elijah Moore, Mims, and Berrios, and those are all weapons for Zach Wilson. I mean, that kid is, and I've seen Zach Wilson play twice in the preseason, and both times he has not disappointed. He is extremely good.
Crowder's still on the roster, no?
Yes, Jamison Crowder, he's there too. So, I mean, he's got weapons. And Zach Wilson, he reminds me a lot of Tom Brady. Honestly, he's very poised. He got sacked a couple of times, but what does he do? He just pops right back up. It doesn't mess with his head. And obviously the one that I watched the most is Mac Jones. Mac Jones did not have one bad game in the preseason. And that's what I'm basically judging that. I'm judging Mac Jones on all the games that I saw, and there was not one that he disappointed. So those are my 5.
Okay. Mine's some of the rankings that I've got were similar to Vinny's. So at number 5, I have Trey Lance. I think everybody just agreed on that because just the way how he was just not that good as everybody thought, like you said, Vinny. He threw 46% of his passes, and this is like the whole 3 games. Like this is what I'm about to give you guys right now is just the whole total amount that he got. Okay. So the whole 3 games, he only threw 46% of his passes, right? He only had 276 total yards passing. He rushed for 16 yards. And the good thing about this, the only good thing that he got was only 4 total touchdowns. He had 4 total touchdowns in the preseason, okay? And only 1 pick. I just don't understand how Kyle Shanahan is thinking about doing like this 2-man quarterback package with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't understand why. This roster, everybody's thinking that the 49ers has a winning roster already. The only thing is that the only question about is their quarterback, okay? Because we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo healthy made it to the Super Bowl. And it was that year, Pop, when I think a couple of years ago when they made it to the Super Bowl in the preseason. You were saying about something like he's been making tight throws, and that's the reason why they were questioning him about his decision-making. Like he threw like 4 picks in a game during the preseason. So that was that same year he made it to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Last year, he ended up getting injured. I think he only played like 1 game, and then that was it, right?
Yeah.
Was it just 1 game or something like that?
Yeah, it was one. He got hurt in the second, I think.
In the second game?
Yeah, in the middle of the second quarter or something, yeah.
Right. So everybody, like even John Lynch is saying that this is just a Super Bowl contending team already. With under Trey Lance, I'm not even sure if that team is still going to be the same Super Bowl team. I mean, if I was Kyle Shanahan, I would still stick with Jimmy G. The only thing that we all worried about is we can all agree is his health. So that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Number 4, I have Trevor Lawrence. Now, numbers never lie, okay? But what I've been seeing, that never lies because everybody's watching it on live television.
Right.
But Trevor Lawrence is completing 70% of his throws. Okay, Trevor Lawrence, 70% of his throws. He threw for 323 yards throughout 3 games, and then he ended up getting the 2 touchdowns at the very end of his last preseason game, which he went for 11 of 12. Now, the thing is that the only thing that worries me is, like I said before, it's the offensive line.
His O-line.
Can they protect Trevor Lawrence and well enough for him to get rid of the ball? When he was going against the Saints defense, I think that's the only game that pops up to me because I think the first game he was in his jitter. Everybody, all the first games of every single one of these rookies is just jitters. Like Trey Lance, for example, went 5-14 against the Chiefs. Okay, Trevor Lawrence had jitters in the first game. The second game was like, okay, now I got to see what you can do. And what I've been seeing that he can't even slice and dice third stringers or fourth stringers trying to make the roster, unless he was going against some of the starters, which I think he was because of Marcus Williams. That I've just seen Marcus Williams playing a couple of snaps. That's the only thing that's the only reason why I have Trevor Lawrence at 4. Now, like I said, numbers never lie with the stats that I just said, that it looked great on paper. But when I'm seeing him on the field, it's another different story. Mm-hmm. Number 3, I have Zach Wilson. I think it's just because he only played a little bit of the preseason, like total. He didn't play the third game. Like he didn't play the last preseason game. I think the first 2 games, I think he only threw like 9 attempts in the first game, and I think he threw 11 attempts in the second game. Other than that, it was okay. Other than that, it was just the games were just he only played a couple of snaps. But the thing is that he threw 75% of his passes, 191 yards, and he was able to get 2 touchdowns. Did you guys hear about what Tony Romo said about him saying about Zach Wilson being a young Dan Marino? Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
You agree with that, Pop?
No, I heard about it. I don't agree with it. I heard. Getting off the subject a little bit, I watched Dan Marino play. I used to watch him play, and he used to preseason, regular season, playoffs. He used to shred defenses like nothing. So now this kid's got a lot to learn to be compared to Dan Marino. I mean, maybe he worded it that way, but maybe he meant like he could see like maybe in his future that he could develop into a quarterback like him. So only time will tell. I think he jumped the gun a little bit, but only time will tell. Right.
Yeah, I agree with you the same. I just don't think that, he's just a rookie right now. And the weapons that he has, like, it's a completely different league now. Okay, because all the teams must have a number 1 wide receiver. Okay, because the league's already changing with these with the quarterbacks already being a lot more mobile, making plays with their legs, knowing that they have a number 1 guy that they could trust on, except for Patrick Mahomes. That guy he could just make anybody great. Like, I'm not talking about Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce. I'm just talking about like Demarcus Robinson or like Sammy Watkins or some of these
Hardman,
Mecole Hardman.
Yeah, Mecole Hardman.
Exactly. Like those guys.
I didn't know who he was until he had Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't agree with what Tony Romo has said about him being a young Dan Marino. I haven't even watched Dan Marino because I wasn't born in the 80s,
Right.
And, I don't even know. So I really can't say, but if I've seen some highlights, I'm pretty sure that there's no way that he could be like Dan Marino. But
a lot of people, I think they've like probably make a comparison. I think Zach Wilson has the best arm talent out of like all the quarterbacks. I feel like he does have the best arm. And you can see that same thing with Dan Marino, for an example. Dan Marino, like Pops would know that this guy had like a rocket arm.
Yeah.
So it was probably just a comparison in their game. Kind of like Pop, you made the comparison for Zach Wilson to Brady, his grit. He gets right back up after a sack. So yeah, I think it's a fair comparison, but to say that his career, like his accolades, will be like Dan Marino, I don't think that was taken out. Like, I don't think he put that into context for what he said. I think he just made the comparison that he sees a lot of Dan Marino.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So number 2, I have Mac Jones. The only thing I have Mac Jones, and the only good thing I have to talk about is just the way how he composed himself after the first game, because the first game, we've already talked about how his legs were, how he was, everybody was just getting a little bit nervous playing the first game. But other than that, he was very impressive in the preseason. 69% of his throws 300. He threw for 389 yards. He rushed for 3 yards, but it doesn't matter. He's not really a mobile quarterback. Threw for 1 touchdown, no picks. So he was just very, very good. And I'm excited for him to see what he can do against these these NFL teams that the starters is what I'm talking about. And then number 1 is Justin Fields. I feel like he's in a great place to be at with the Chicago Bears. Now the thing is just that when is he starting? Like, when will he be starting? And I feel like he's going to be starting by the time week 3 hits. And it's only if the Bears go 0-2, because you see 3 of the 5 quarterbacks here are starting. Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence. Can Nagy just decide, okay, well, you know what? I've drafted this guy number 1, and I know
they traded up too.
Exactly. And he has to go against his word on Andy Dalton, because we've seen Andy Dalton with the Bengals, with AJ Green, with Tyler Boyd, and he couldn't do anything with those guys. He only made like 1 playoff appearance. Unless you guys want to blame it on the coach. Like, what do you guys think?
Marvin Jones. I mean, well, not Marvin. Was that Marvin Lewis? Sorry, Marvin Jones. Marvin Lewis. He's not a good coach. There's a lot of complacency in the Bengals organization, and I think it's like fitting into like now what they're doing with Joe Burrow. Bengals are a mess. Okay, Andy Dalton did a very good job with the Dallas considering their situation. We had Ezekiel Elliott just not showing up, so he didn't have a run game behind him for the most part of the season until Pollard broke through. So you were saying that the 3 quarterbacks that were starting, Lawrence, Jones, and Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Right.
And Justin Fields is the best receiver what we've seen. Well, me and Junior have seen. He's the best quarterback there, and he's not starting. So
well, yeah. I really don't blame Nagy for starting. I mean, look, the Bears did trade up to get Justin Fields, okay? And that should be more of a reason to start him, all right? But I mean, looking at the Bears schedule, I mean, the first team that they play, really, you want to throw the rookie quarterback Justin Fields to Aaron Donald? No, that's going to be you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that because you got to understand, and I know you guys are both football freaks. I know you guys watch football. I know you guys study every single thing about football. What's going to happen to this kid when Aaron Donald eats him up? Is it going to? Yeah, exactly. He's going to go. Is he going to go Carson Wentz? Could it mess him up mentally? So I think you're right, Junior. I think Nagy should hold him at least to week 4 or week 5 when they play the Lions or the Bears. I mean, or the Raiders.
Yeah. When the schedule kind of clears up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think starting Dalton is a good idea, and I think it's a good idea, and I think it's a good idea for Justin Fields to prepare himself, and I think mentally they won't have to worry about any consequence.
Right.
And if Dalton, if Dalton goes 2-0, you can just stick with Dalton until they get into a slump during the season.
Right.
So,
right. All right. Let me just give you guys a little bit more of Justin Fields real quick. The thing is that he threw 61% of his passes, which I think he could improve on. I feel like I'm around in the 65 area range. I would like to see his accuracy and his passing percentage get a little bit more increase at the 65 range, but 61 is very decent. He threw for 276 yards throughout his whole preseason, and also he rushed for 92 yards total, 92 total yards as well, and he had 3 total touchdowns. And like how me and Vinny were saying, Pop, that I know that you haven't even watched Justin Fields, but
right.
when I watched Justin Fields, he looked very, very good. He looked ready. He didn't look like he had any jitters out of all these quarterbacks. it looked like he was like NFL ready. Like if he had, well, I wouldn't say a chip on his shoulder because Mac Jones was the last quarterback out of the 5, because he was pretty much the 4th quarterback gone off the board.
Mm-hmm.
But he looked NFL ready. But I just feel like if you guys think that it's okay for Andy Dalton to start, I mean, by all means, because like you said, Pop, the first game's Chicago against the Rams on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
But if Justin Fields was playing on Sunday night, I would watch that game. I would really watch that Sunday night game.
I agree with you. It would be good for the NFL. I know, market-wise, sure. But, you're the coach, Junior. You're the coach of the Bears. You got Andy Dalton, a seasoned veteran. And then you got Justin Fields, who, like you said, you read the sheet, very good on paper. You watched him, very good. No butterflies. But you have Aaron Donald and the Rams defense on the first game. You do not want to throw him in that fire. I don't think so, bro.
I mean, Kyler Murray started. And Kyler Murray was in the division.
He didn't start against the Rams. He didn't. The first game, I don't think it was against the Rams. But of his whole career, I don't think he played the first game against the Rams. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, yeah. If it was any other team, sure, I would agree with you. I would agree definitely with you. But you don't. I don't think it would be a good idea. I really don't. As dominant as the Rams defense is, no way. I wouldn't.
Right. Okay, so how would you guys rank these quarterback rankings? Am I too low on Trevor Lawrence? Is Pops too high on Mac Jones? Is Vinny too low on Trevor Lawrence as well? I mean, it goes to show, or he's in the middle range. I'm sorry, Vinny. He's in the middle range.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he was, 3's in the middle. I had him low, but I think probably Zach Wilson is a little low. But everybody agreed we all agreed that Trey Lance was pretty much the worst one out of the 5.
Yeah.
So we agreed on that. But how would you guys rank these rookie quarterbacks? Go to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.
And all you Niners fans, don't put Trey Lance up top there.
Oh, yeah, please. Be real. I mean, yeah, you could. You could make an argument for my dad because he has.
Yeah, at least make an argument. At least make an argument.
Yeah, he has Mac Jones at 1. If you guys want to think, well, because he's a Patriot fan and I'm a Patriot fan, but I have to be more kind of like, how would I say it? Be more fair. And it's just non-biased. Thank you, Pop. But I just felt like Mac Jones was at 2 and then Justin Fields at 1. How me and Vinny decided to put him at 1 and Pops just had Mac Jones at 1. But other than that, I mean, I don't want to be hard on the 49er fans because they have a great young quarterback. I'm just worried about what he can prove to himself if he can what's the word I'm looking for? Try to prove to himself that he is ready to go and try to take this team to a Super Bowl. That's what I'm just saying.
And on a last note, Junior, I was going to tell you before, I completely agree with you. This is Garoppolo's job until he gets hurt.
Right. Yeah, that's just basically.
I don't see. Yeah, if Garoppolo goes all season with no injury, I don't see Trey Lance playing until next year. Maybe.
All right. Okay. All right. So moving along, I think this past week, JK Dobbins is out for the season. He tore his ACL. I think his ACL, right?
Yeah.
He had a knee injury. But with that said, I know that Lamar Jackson it's the same weapons as before. Now I'm thinking that what's going to happen with this team? Like, do you guys still think that with J.K. Dobbins out of the season, who a lot of people were saying that, hey, this is the year where he's going to have a great year. He was almost to 1,000 rushing yards last year as well. I think he only had like 800. Basically, all these running backs had pretty much 800 yards.
Late in the season, he played very, very well. He played exceptional football in the later part of the season.
Yeah. So with J.K. Dobbins out of the season, do you guys still think that the Baltimore Ravens are still the favorites to win the division? Vinny, I'm going to start with you. Do you think that the Ravens will win the AFC North?
I thought with J.K. Dobbins they weren't going to win the NFC North. AFC North. I thought that was going to be the Browns, but this definitely hurts their chances of even competing with the Browns. I still think they're the second best team. I have a lot of belief in the Ravens. Their defense is still still good. It's, in my opinion, it's still a top 5 defense. Lamar Jackson is still a very good quarterback, though some people, might not like the way that he plays.
Mhm.
But I think last year regular season, they split the division series with the Browns last year, and JK barely had done anything up to that game. It was the Monday night game, I think, right?
The one that was going against the Cleveland Browns,
Yeah,
the greatest. You mean that Monday night game where you beat
that
me in
Monday night
fantasy?
game. Yeah, that game was crazy, but
That,
I mean,
it was
I have
crazy.
a lot of belief. I have a lot of belief in this Ravens team. I mean, Gus Edwards. I mean, he's not. I mean, I don't think he will pick up the slack that JK Dobbins is going to leave, because I think Dobbins was definitely, they were revving up Dobbins to be like this next big thing. But I
Right.
think Gus Edwards, I think he can be pretty decent coming out of the backfield. I think Justice Hill will be really good as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I don't think they're going to win the division though.
Okay. What about you, Pop? Do you think that they'll still be the favorites to win the
Of
AFC North?
course, they're gonna win the division. That's a weak division. I mean, I don't mean weak. I mean, there's nobody that can. I mean, like you said, he was winning this division with the players that he has right now. He didn't have J.K. Dobbins. He had Gus Edwards. He had Justice Hill. They added the rookie receiver, Vinny,
Bateman. Rashad Bateman. He's my boy.
Bateman. They got Mark Andrews.
Acquired
Lamar
Sammy
Jackson
Watkins.
still has his legs. They added Watkins. They're going to win the division. The only one that would compete, in my opinion, sure, it's the Cleveland Browns. I agree with you, Vinny, but Cleveland Browns haven't done it. They've had the same team, and they just haven't been that. I mean, they made the playoffs last year, but they just haven't really stepped up yet. And I feel that they're still going to be right there. They're still going to be right there, that wild card team, or the team that ends up in second place, because Baltimore, they're well rounded. I mean, they have their good defense, and like I just mentioned, their offense has improved. Even without J.K. Dobbins, I believe that Gus Edwards, this is his chance. This is his moment. He's got to take full advantage of it. Knowing that, I think Gus Edwards is going to take full advantage, because if you see Gus Edwards' numbers when Dobbins was hurt, when he was starting games, he was pretty good. He was really good, actually. And then they got their third down back in Justice Hill. Great hands, great speed. And you always got to be worried about crazy Lamar Jackson. His legs. He is just a killer. So yes, I say that Baltimore is still the heavy favorite. I think they're still the heavy favorite. I don't think anything changed. I think they're still the heavy favorite to win that division.
All right. Well, for me, I still think. I agreed with Vinny. I think it's just because of the I'm not going to say weapons. I think it's just because of Lamar Jackson's weakness right now is him throwing the ball. A couple of years ago, he led the league in passing touchdowns, which is great, because I really didn't like the way how people just treated him like a running back. Still to this day, I still don't like the way how he gets treated, because
Lamar
I don't think
slander.
because I don't think they did the same with Michael Vick. I don't think they did tell him, "Oh, like you're a running back disguised as a quarterback." I don't think they didn't rub Michael Vick the way how they're doing with Lamar Jackson. I think he could improve on his throwing accuracy, his just precision of him throwing the ball to his wideout. I think wasn't Marquise Brown like a 1,000-yard receiver at one point
year.
as his rookie year?
Rookie year.
Right?
Rookie
year. Yeah,
Okay.
he regressed last year.
Yeah, he regressed last year. With that just being said, I still feel like I think the Browns, and I think Vinny could agree with me on this. Randy, do you think the Browns are going to win this division or do you just think somebody else?
Who, me? Or
Vinny.
Yeah.
Oh,
Vinny.
yeah. I mean, I think the Browns are going to win the division. I think the Browns. I think coming in, they were the best team in the AFC North, but I thought that it was going to be much more closer with JK Dobbins in that backfield. But
Right.
I mean, again, I'm not discrediting the Ravens. I'm still riding high on the Ravens. I love the Ravens.
Mhm.
I feel like they're going to be probably the funnest team to watch. That's not named the Kansas City Chiefs. You know,
Right.
they're going to be. Oh my God, they're going to be amazing to watch. But I just like the Browns. That they have this sickening two-headed monster with Chubb and Hunt. I don't even think we've even seen what Chubb can do with a full season, even though he was
We
third,
haven't,
fourth
right?
in yards.
We haven't. But you
You know?
guys, like I said, you guys know the game.
Yeah,
You guys know the game. You don't think as soon as Lamar Jackson saw JK Dobbins go down, you don't think that practices he was slinging that ball, working on his accuracy, working on passes.
Oh no,
Maybe
yeah.
No, I mean,
I'm not.
control the
I'm
ball
not.
more.
I'm not
yeah,
discrediting
because
Lamar. We're not discrediting Lamar at
No.
all.
I think that's just his only weakness. Because I think a scout was talking to somebody that they were saying like, oh, I think at some point that they were going to figure him out, and then I think Lamar just basically just said, well, we'll see, or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Because the more he's gonna be using his legs, which it's already getting to that point because he had back-to-back 1,000 yards
1,000 yard
rushing.
seasons, yeah.
They're gonna be figuring him out. I think it's just because if he could improve his throwing game, then yeah, you're not gonna be able to figure what Lamar is gonna be doing.
Mhm.
Whether he's gonna be coming out of the bootleg, if he's gonna do a bootleg play coming out, making it rolling to his right or to his left, either thinking that hey, you got this defender doing like a spy or like a middle linebacker on spy on him, or maybe like you're seeing him, you know, he sees one of these wideouts like Marquise Brown open, and he's going to be able to deliver the ball at him.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing that I just have. That's just basically his weakness, just his throwing accuracy, his throwing precision, and everything like that. Just for him throwing the ball to his receivers, just makes him kind of like, okay, well, we all know they're going to be stacking. They're going to be stacking the box every single play because they're going to be running the ball. But if Lamar Jackson can improve on his throwing ability, they still have a chance of winning the division. But I think it will be super close between them and the Browns. The reason why I think the Browns, who at this might be like they have an advantage because one of their great running backs is gone. This has to be a proven year to Baker Mayfield because they still haven't had any contract extension talks till this day, and it's his last year with the Browns. This is going to be the year where he can prove it that, hey, I'm the number one pick. I was the right decision because everybody thinks that, hey, you know what? Just be good enough. That's all I'm going to say for the Browns. Just be good enough for them to win the division and be good enough to win one playoff game because their roster is already stacked. It's just Baker Mayfield is the question of being under center.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like it'll be very, very close. But I still have the Browns winning the division instead of the Ravens. But it'll be very, very, very close. It all just comes down to see how Lamar Jackson can do, not running wide, not using his legs, using his arm, and then what Baker Mayfield can do with just to see if he's the right guy. I just don't want him to be forcing the ball to Odell Beckham a lot because I know he's like all about stats and stuff. But are you really going to depend on a guy that wants stats, or you're going to be depending on your job? You want that contract. So
they flourished without him. So that's all I'm going to say.
That's true.
They flourished without him.
That's true.
A mental game between the quarterbacks, probably like the best thing that you can possibly get out of a divisional race. So,
and then when you were talking about Junior Lamar Jackson, he didn't have the wide receivers. You're saying that they were back then. He was running. He's got 1,000 yards rushing. He didn't have the receivers that he has now.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he could. Maybe that's why he didn't throw the ball. He had nobody.
Well, yeah, because you got Rashad Bateman, and then you got Sammy Watkins. Patrick Patrick Mahomes made Sammy Watkins. Before that, when he was with the Bills, he was pretty much like, he wasn't there. I think it's just because of the quarterback play. Because I think it was Tyrod Taylor under center with the Bills with Sammy Watkins, right?
Uh-huh.
And so he went with the Chiefs, and pretty much when Sammy Watkins had opportunities there, he made them. Like, he was able to get his opportunities with the team. But I mean, under center with Lamar Jackson, I think that's just the thing that kind of worries me, because Marquise Brown has been there for 2 seasons already. They know that the wide receivers are their weak point in the offense. I mean, they are still a great team because they do like this 3-headed back trio with JK Dobbins and Gus Edwards and Justice Hill and Lamar Jackson himself making plays with his legs. But I think just Mark Andrews is the only stud in the passing game.
Yeah, but when you got four defensive backs guarding Marquise Brown, then that's because they don't have nobody else to guard.
Yeah, I mean, I see your point.
You got
there.
4 guys on them. You're gonna throw the ball.
Yeah.
No, I just think that this receiving core that they have now is way more better when they acquired guys with like Watkins. I think we're going to expect a big year from Watkins this year. I'm expecting a lot actually from Watkins. I'm really riding high on a comeback season.
I dare you to draft him on your fantasy on Monday.
I think I will.
Yeah.
I think I will.
That nobody. I'm just letting. I know this is completely off topic, but nobody has drafted a single wide receiver from the Ravens besides Mark Andrews.
Bad decision
in the draft, a draft, unless it's like a dynasty, like I'm talking like a dynasty league or something.
Yeah,
like
they'll draft like Bateman.
Yeah, they'll draft Bateman. Yeah,
but like in redrafts, as far as I know, like the drafts that I'm in, I don't think nobody hasn't even drafted one single receiver from the Ravens.
It's a bad decision.
Yeah. So that leads us to you guys. Do you guys think that the Ravens are still the favorites to win the division, or the Browns now the favorites to win the division? Maybe the upcoming Steelers winning the division? Let me guys know in the comment section below, and let us know your thoughts. All right, and finally, our last topic of the day of our show, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are clearly the favorites to represent the NFC East in the Super Bowl. I think it's not my opinion. I think it's Vegas has them as well making it to the Super Bowl again.
Good.
But is there a NFC team?
A no-brainer.
Yeah. Is there an NFC team that can dethrone the NFC Super Bowl champions? I would say the NFC champs because they were NFC champs.
Yep.
And then they were the Super Bowl champions. So I kind of like said NFC Super Bowl, which kind of combine them together. But do you guys think that there is an NFC team that can dethrone the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from stopping them to make another Super Bowl appearance? Dad, what do you think? Do you have anybody? I think that we agree with one team. I just want to make sure that it is the right team.
Yeah,
I think there is only one.
There is clearly only one, and again, this is like I'm going to use it again, a no-brainer. It's going to be the Packers. I mean, the Packers are the only team that I think that are capable of like you say, dethroning the NFC champion, because they've been there. They've been there every single season, that I can remember. They're always there. They're always there at the end. The other team that I kind of gets thrown at me a lot is Seattle, because they're always out there. Russell Wilson, he always finds a way. I don't know. They're like a thorn in your butt. They don't. He never goes away. But I think the Packers are the most clear team to beat the Bucks. But honestly, I don't see that until Brady gets from retire or something.
Right. What do you think, Vinny? Is it going to be? Because I think for me it's the Packers. I think the only reason why is just because they brought back Aaron Rodgers. I know he's trying to get some weapons that he's had in the past, like Randall Cobb, but it's just a safety measure because there's really a number 2 wide receiver, and the only number 2 wide receiver that he's worked with in the past is Randall Cobb. But I'm not saying that he's not going to be the Randall Cobb how he was before, like in a couple of years ago when he was in his prime. Now he's this Randall Cobb where he just thinks that, hey, like, I think it's just going to be his safety blanket. The only thing that I'm just worried about is, will Matt LaFleur be able to have Aaron Rodgers take control over the plays? Like, because they were, to me, if they were to go for the, I think it was like that fourth down at the like 2 minutes to go. If they were to win on that, who knows? Maybe it would have been a 50-50. But you got to let Aaron Rodgers take a shot at it, because you have 2 minutes to go.
He had three chances before that, and he didn't take advantage of it.
Exactly. But I mean, at the last play, because Brady in the first half, Brady was just unbelievable. And then when you get to the second half, then we see the Brady. Remember how Pop used to say, like, if you're getting too much comfortable taking the lead, you make sure that you have to keep playing the way how you've been playing in the first half. Yeah. Because otherwise, if you let that mistake happen, it could come back and bite you in the ass. Mm-hmm. And that almost happened with the Buccaneers. And there's everybody saying that, oh, it's just because I think the defense carried them or whatever and all this stuff. And it's just ridiculous, because the defense has to do their job to make plays. Yeah, and not carry a 43-year-old dude who thinks everybody's like 70. He thinks he's 70 years old and can't play or whatever.
Yeah, what I've always said, like you mentioned, what I've always said is, like, when you get a comfortable lead, they start to like, it's weird. They start to become like wishy-washy. They can't. You got to go out there and execute just the way you were doing from the beginning to end. I mean, you have to understand, this is a 48 minute game. It's not is it 48?
No, an hour. I think you're talking about basketball.
Yeah, that's right. It's like an hour long. You got to play for 60 minutes all the way. Yeah. Don't let up. And yeah, you're right. It did happen to Brady. It almost happened to him. But the thing about that is that the Green Bay Packers didn't take advantage of that.
One stat that is absolutely drilled into my mind since that game: the 3 turnovers that they got off Brady. You want to know how many points they scored off those turnovers? 6.
And how many? 3? Yeah, 3.
3 turnovers. They only scored 6 points.
Potential 21 points.
21 points. 6. They would have won that game if they had scored a touchdown off one of those picks. They would have won the game.
Yeah, it's just the decision making of going.
I don't blame LaFleur for not going with Rodgers. I really don't, because the way that they had that next possession with Brady with the ball, it looked planned. Like, they took a flag for an intentional delay of game. Like, they intentionally went offside to stop the clock, which is like the most biggest brain anything that I've ever seen from a coach, other than like Bill Belichick trolling the Jets. I think it was last year with the intentional offside call. Mm-hmm. With that, like, to do that on the NFC Championship game, like, this had to have been planned. And then they got outed. The Bucs kind of got outed. They got bailed out by that fluky. I mean, it wasn't really fluky. He did pull on his jersey, that defensive interference call. But the officiating was bad the whole game. I remember that game like it was yesterday. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really blame LaFleur for not going with Rodgers. I mean, it's still Rodgers, but I mean, there were a lot of things in that game that the Packers should have done differently. But
is there another team that you think that could compete? Like I said, Seattle. And I was going to ask you the same thing, Junior. I mean, do you think there's maybe one more team in the NFC maybe that you can think of? Vinny?
Well, the Packers is one of them. I think the second one is could be Seattle. I think it's just I mean it's just Russell Wilson, because that dude just carries that damn team. The only thing that I'm worried about is how good it will be their defense, which I still think it's still going to be the same as last year. Mm-hmm. Jamal Adams hasn't made any impact when he was over there with the Jets. He still hasn't made any impact with Seattle. So I still think that Seattle defense will be like where they were at last year, maybe even a little bit better. But it's just that Russell Wilson, you can never, ever count him out.
Count him out, right?
Count him out.
How about you?
It's just
Atlanta.
Is no one talking? Is everyone forgetting about the Rams? I mean,
Nah.
we are talking about one of the best defensive teams in the league. They have the best defensive player. They have one of the best actually the best cornerback in the league. You know, the only thing that was holding back their offense was Jared Goff, and they answered that question by getting a guy like Stanford who can sling it to guys. He made Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones look like Pro Bowlers. And what can you do with Woods and Kupp, who are arguably talented? You know, I mean, probably the only thing that's probably holding them back is probably the run game because they don't have Akers.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to remember, Stanford didn't get a run game until Kerryon Johnson. Where is he at now? The third running back on that team. You know.
But the thing is that for the Rams, I know that everybody's picking the Rams as like kind of like the dark horses as competition with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The only thing that I'm just worried about is that team is just complete, and I think they could compete. The only thing is just that how well would Stanford do with being in the playbook for the very first time with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and Tyler Higbee. I just don't know because we've seen it with when he had Calvin Johnson, which is probably the only wide receiver that he's had. Now that he's going to be having two wide receivers that are really, really great, I just want to know how he'll do with that team because that defense is great. I'm not gonna count them out.
Yeah.
It's just that the thing is that what is Stanford going to be doing with these two guys? Or unless we're going to be seeing the same Stafford that's been with that just was with the Lions, you know, so kind of beat up. It just comes down to health because he's an Iron Man. That dude could play with a freaking broken collarbone and still be on the field, be on the field and making plays.
I think he definitely brings a lot of character to that LA team as well. I mean, when you come to like I mean, this guy came from Detroit to LA. You know, imagine how great that's going to be feeling. You know, so.
Right.
No, Vinny, I completely agree with everything you said, Vinny. The only problem that I have, and maybe you answered it, is you're right. You know, Matthew Stafford, the problem was with Goff with the Rams, and they answered the question with Matthew Stafford. And you were talking about Galladay and Marvin Jones, how he made them good. And now he's got two even better receivers in Woods and Kupp. Mm-hmm. But they were still with when Matthew Stafford. Is he the answer? Because look at where he's gone with Detroit. They haven't made the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs with Stanford.
I know, but that team.
But I think when you answer, I'm sorry, Mijo. When you answered, I think now he comes with a defense.
Yeah.
See, Detroit's never had a defense, so I can't say that Vinny's got a good point with the Rams. I think you're right, Vincent. I think the Rams could make a run. But it's going to have to be, and like you said, the first thing that when you said that you like the Rams, first thing that you discussed was their defense. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I think the Rams could make a little bit of a run.
I mean, the only negative I see the Rams, the only negative is that their division is stacked, like stacked. Yeah. I think all four of those teams are capable of winning. Even the Cardinals, I think they're even capable of even winning. I mean, they have J.J. Watt there. They acquired J.J. Watt. You know, they still have Hopkins, Kyler Murray. He's coming back for another year. That's going to be fun.
They got also Malcolm Butler, but he might be retiring.
Oh, he did. Sure. He did.
Oh, he did already? Oh, okay.
So it was a personal thing. Yeah. You know, so
I thought they had him on that reserve retirement.
Oh, he was.
He's done.
Okay. He's done. But I mean, that team is still stacked. You know, the team is still stacked. But I mean, that's the only thing that's holding them back. You know, is
their division.
You know, you guys were saying Seattle they're the second front runners behind the Packers.
Yeah.
And you know, the 49ers are coming back. I mean, their whole team was injured last year, so we can't say that they had a championship hangover. You know, if the whole team was out, you know, and
defense and offense.
Defense and offense. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They had to pull out Jeff Wilson Jr. off the practice squad for one game. So,
oh my Lord.
So
yeah, they pulled him up for that game, and he had like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
It was ridiculous.
ridiculous game.
And especially with the rise of Arizona too, because they were in a hot streak as well until the very end, where they just completely blew it.
Fell
Kind
apart.
of.
Yeah.
And that team is also going to be very good. Now, it's just we're going to have to see how Zach Taylor, his decision making, or probably like maybe his, because I know they signed. Who did they sign off of? Did they sign anybody? Oh, JJ Watt, right? They signed JJ Watt this year.
Signed
JJ
JJ Watt.
Watt.
Yeah.
Okay,
Josh
and then
Jacobs. Right?
who?
Josh Jacobs? The running back. Josh Jacobs, right?
No,
Josh
they got James
Jacobs?
Conner. They got James
Oh,
Conner.
James
James
Conner. James Conner, not Josh Jacobs.
Oh,
They're getting
all right.
confused.
All right,
No.
time for bed, Vinny.
Yeah. All right. Get out of here.
James
Here's
Conner.
your
So,
coffee.
James Conner.
Get him a
But
coffee.
yeah, but the thing is, it's just the running game. The running game is going to be, because they relied on Kyler Murray's legs a lot last year. But now they just want to see how he can do more in the pocket, which I really like. You only could use Kyler Murray or any other mobile quarterback when you don't see anybody open from the field. That's the only time where I think where a quarterback, if you're mobile enough to roll around and to gain some extra yards, if you can't find anybody, unless you're trying to dump it off to the running backs or whatever. But if you're trying to make plays with your legs, I'm hoping that they make smart decisions, because only they know what they see. We're only seeing from the side, from the sideline.
Yeah.
So we don't know, and the camera's just on the quarterback until the ball is thrown out, and then that's when we see who's open or if it gets picked or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to see if Kyler Murray can step up and make the Arizona Cardinals a winning team. Until they were 6-2 at one point, or 6-6 or something, and then they just kind of blew it off from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was injuries though. I think they got injured as well at the end. Remember Kyler Murray? He had his injury. He was he wasn't 100% at the end of the season.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but yeah,
Giants
so
game.
I know that the Rams are in the most stacked division in football right now. It's completely stacked with great teams within like the Rams division and stuff like that. But they could be in the wild card, and I think I do have them in the wild card. We'll discuss that in our next episode, which I think we are going to be doing a prediction show of the who's making the playoffs in the AFC NFC team. But
cool.
But yeah, there you go. I have the Green Bay Packers trying to be a threat to the NFC champions and the Super Bowl champions Tampa Bay Bucks. Pops has the Packers as well. Vinny went with the Rams.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't see the Green Bay
Always
Packers.
the rebel. Always the rebel.
I know. I thought it was going to be
Always the
unanimous,
rebel.
dude. Like
I
thought
did
it was
too.
gonna be unanimous,
Yeah, Packers.
too.
I actually did too.
Yeah, I thought, because when we seriously, like, when we look at these quarterbacks, because it's basically it's Brady, it's Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, and then that's it. Like, and then you got Matt Stafford, who's a dark horse. Then you got Kyler Murray. Then you got Jimmy G, and then you got like all these young. And then
like
from
the
there,
rest.
it's all young,
All young,
all young. So it's Brady, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, those three guys.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, we don't know how Matt Stafford's going to be under center with the Rams.
Yeah,
He might be better than how he was in Detroit. Now that he has two wide receivers, like two great wide receivers, or he could be like the same Matthew Stafford that can't quite reach the playoffs again, but this time with some great weapons,
Yeah, but the thing is like I keep stressing, because Vinny, you brought up some very good points, bro. No running game, no problem for Stanford. He's never had one.
He's never had one.
And the only thing that he has now, which I'm sure he's grateful for, is a defense. That's all he needed, and maybe an O-line, a better O-line than he had before.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
so I don't really see. I mean, the only thing that you brought up, Junior, which is also a good point, is the playbook. I know he has the playbook to work out, and that would be his only. That would be his
issue.
only setback. Yeah,
Like
that would be his only
His only
setback.
drawback. Yeah, his only setback.
And he can do that anytime. He could do that he could be doing it right now. while we're doing
Right,
this
yeah.
show. He could be chilling with his playbook every single day, you know?
Yeah, but
So I really don't see, I really can't agree with that he's going to have any issues at all.
yeah, but the thing is just that I'm thinking that, okay, maybe he can live up to the hype. Maybe he might be the same Matthew Stafford that he was with the Detroit Lions, but he has to know that you're also in a division where it's completely stacked, and winning the division is the first thing you got to do, or making it to the playoffs and beat the rest of your rivals. That's just how it is. And at first, that's the first thing you got to do. Then the second thing, once you made it to the playoffs, maybe get a game in the wild card. Because I'm not sure about Vinny, but because I know Vinny picked the Rams. But I'm just saying for myself, and I'm gonna be speaking for myself.
Yeah.
That I have the Rams in the wild card. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then the division winner is the Seattle Seahawks. But that's for another discussion for our next episode of the show.
I mean, poor Matthew Stafford. He probably went into every single season with Detroit like, oh, here we go again, like 4-12.
Oh, here we go. 3-13. I'm gonna pass for like 4,000 yards.
At least he has something to look forward to this year.
I mean, you made a point about Seattle. Their defense is going to be holding them back. I mean, it's either going to be serviceable or kind of better than last year, right? I mean, the point that I make with the Rams is that all I see is a complete team. I see a division-winning team when I see the Rams this year coming into this season. I see a division-winning team, and so I mean that's all. I don't think the Rams are shooting for the wild card, this year.
Oh, I know they're not. They're not. They're trying to win their division. I think we all basically everybody's trying to win the division. Yeah.
Well, except for Jacksonville.
Except Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah.
and Houston.
Jackson
and Houston.
Oh my Lord.
They're trying to win the number one pick.
Trying to win the number one pick.
And the Lions.
The Lions
too. But
all I see, I don't see any flaws with the Rams. I don't see any flaw. I mostly see flaws internally. With like Matthew Stafford, it's a brand new team, all that and whatnot. Like when I see Seattle, I'm like, there's holes in their secondary. I see holes on their pass rush. I don't see a lot of guys who can actually fend off. Their O-line, even though they made improvements, it's still not that good, and it's it's going to be a problem. You're not going to have Russell Wilson throw for 30 times and run around behind the pocket 30 times either,
Right.
So you're going to get a lot of that. I see the Rams as being the most complete team in that division, and I think they might be challenging the Bucs for that spot. I think they might be. I mean, in my opinion, and I think everyone can agree here that the Bucs are probably going to repeat again. When I was watching the Super Bowl, I remember Andrew, me and Junior's brother. I told him that,
brother.
and my brother, yeah, my brother too. I don't know why I said that, but I'm a little sleepy right now. But
I got you.
I was watching.
He said mine and Junior's brother.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, you said mine and Junior's brother.
No, I heard Junior's brother, and then I was like, oh, and he's your brother too. And he was like, "Oh yeah."
Oh, I said that. Oh shoot, I'm sorry, Andy. If he ends up watching this, I'm sorry, Andrew. Sorry about that. No, but I told him, and I think I told Dad that Brady's winning 2 more before he retires. Mm-hmm. With that Bucs team.
I think so too.
With that Bucs team, how talented they are, offensively, defensively, coaching, the whole organization of the Bucs, they're gonna win 2 more with Brady. I don't doubt it.
Man, but if the Rams make this run that you're talking about, Brady's going to win his second at like what 49. He's going to win at 49 years old.
So I mean, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that brings us to our last. Oh, that brought us to our end of the closing show. But what do you guys think? What NFC team do you guys think that is a threat to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Is it the Rams? Is it Seattle? Is it Packers? Or is it any other team that you think that's a threat to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? But let us know in the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. But that'll do it for today's show. I know that we all got through it, and it's great to be back.
It is great to be back.
Very great to be back.
I think this is probably like the third try. But no matter how many times we try to do this again, it's like if we never left. Like we still had that same chemistry,
same attitude,
same attitude, and same
agree to disagree. Agree to disagree. All of us.
Yeah. We all have our own takes.
Oh yeah. Never forget the Giants take, which I think it's a
oh my God, that's the worst.
Someone needs to bury that. Someone needs to bury that. Someone get that. Someone get that clip and bury it. Someone get that clip and burn it. Never play us again. And that Raptors one too. That was a bad take. If you guys don't remember that Raptors one, you guys remember that one? By any chance?
Wasn't it the one that you said that they were going to win again?
I said that they weren't. I said that they weren't going to do much in the postseason. And they ended up winning the championship.
The championship.
The Kawhi Leonard situation.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. All right, guys. For our next show, we are going to be discussing about the NFC and our predictions. We're just going to give out our predictions of the AFC and NFC. Also, we're going to be talking about baseball because postseason baseball, the greatest time of the year for MLB, October. And I've learned so many things in baseball that I'm never going to learn. I'm never going to say that this team is better right now in July until the very end because of the Boston Red Sox started so hot.
Wow.
And now they're just atrocious right now. And they're trying to fight.
They got buried.
They are trying to find a way to make it to winning the division, which I think they're not going to do anymore, but try to at least get that wild card spot if they could. But the Yankees right now are getting red hot. Unbelievable what they just did when they just traded for Joey Gallo and also with Anthony Rizzo, which I didn't think he was going to be making any impact. But I think they just needed some left-hander batters. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But that's that. We'll get into that on our next episode as well. But you could, if you guys want to follow the show, you guys could follow on Instagram and no, our show is on Instagram only. At Sports Rap with Gil and Vin. You could follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at GilGuido12. Vinny, they could find. Well, I think Vinny, where they can't find you. I think the only thing is the Instagram, but I'm not sure if you have a Twitter.
It's the Instagram. It's the Instagram handler Supersonics20. You can find me there. No spaces, no nothing. Just Supersonics20. So
and then where can they find you? Pop?
Where can they find you, Pop?
They can find me in the balcony smoking a stogie.
Oh my God! All right, and that'll do it, guys. We'll see you guys next time.